Hello, greetings everyone. This is the Great Rick, and I'm doing something that hasn't really been done in a long time. At least I don't see it, which is video responses. I mean, you do like reactions and analysis to like trailers and stuff, but there hasn't really been a straight up response video that I've seen in a while. I've seen like people like Onision, like of a completely different like type of like channel, like call people out for something they've done, but not really not really response like video responses to videos anymore. But what I'm doing today is I'm doing a response to my friend Fire Emblem Discussion or FED's video of why an FE4 remake won't work. Now, I shared this on Facebook in one of my Facebook groups earlier, and it honestly like didn't get the best reception. I I mean, I'm hoping that most of the likes that you see right here are not from my friends. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna try to be as like graceful and as kind. I'm not gonna be an asshole. Like honestly, this was not the first thing I ever wanted to react to from the community. I mean, if I had it my way, I would have gotten someone like one angry geek to fucking make the stupidest shit. Because I mean, I want to stick this channel to. I want to keep this channel Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy on occasion, but oh yeah, I'm sorry, trying not to touch my face because, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, I was waiting for something like that, but you know, FED created the perfect video for me to just talk about. So I'm going to go by. So pretty much we're gonna be playing the video, and point by point I'm gonna be either debunking or agreeing with him and seeing just what just what there is. And it started me at 4 seconds. So again, be respectful to him. Do not harass him for his opinion. Don't don't be that massive cunt. Please. Please don't be that massive cunt. Anyway, now let's begin. Uh, this music, this music is just great. Okay, so oh, okay, it seems like already he's gonna debunk what most FE4 fans have already de- like already protested against, like removal of like certain mechanics and adding 3D exploration, stuff like that. But it's only been 20 seconds. Remake FE4? Yeah. Honestly, my answer is yes, but again, I've barely even started this video. Yep. I mean, spot on editing here right now. Like, just gonna say spot on editing, because I know sometimes he just makes simple videos that he doesn't edit too often, but this is great. That was like so far I've liked the editing.
Genealogy of the Holy War just might be the most requested remake at this point in time. FE4 is the most unique game in the series. The large maps, the inventory system, child units that completely replace their parents, Super Kanto, and much more. This uniqueness is largely why it will not transfer well into modern Fire Emblem.
Okay, already I've gotta disagree with this. Like, being unique does not like hell. Hell, you ask a Fire Emblem player, three how like someone that started with Awakening, Three Houses is the fucking most unique Fire Emblem game we've gotten. Like seriously, tell me what other Fire Emblem game has base exploration, like has that same level of base exploration, the fishing minigame, the cooking shit. I mean, okay, Fates had the cooking. Pretty much the way that Fire Emblem Three Houses was designed is like no other Fire Emblem game. So already, I just kind of can't agree here. But Alrighty. So I keep pausing because that's something that I just can't agree with. Because here's the thing, Fire Emblem always gets different each iteration. Like Fire Emblem, you can't tell me that Fire Emblem Fire Emblem Gaiden plays like FE1 outside of the typical grid based map because every Fire Emblem plays out like that. Unless it's Fire Emblem Warriors, and then you're gonna play out like fucking a Warriors game. But we don't count that. Nor do we count Tokyo Mirage sessions while we're at it. Anyway, continue.
While FE4 was charming, had an engaging narrative, and told its story in such a powerful way, a remake would undoubtedly be weighed down by modern Fire Emblem's habits.
Okay. What? Oh wait, no, he'll go into that later in the video, but the thing is, like, modern Fire Emblem habits, I feel like that's a very blanketed statement. Like, it's because whenever I hear modern Fire Emblem habits, people seem to people will just bring up shit that I'm pretty sure he's gonna bring up again. I've only watched this twice. Watched it like 3 a.m. and first time when I woke up this morning. Don't remember too much because it usually takes me like 5 watches to remember a video. But that just doesn't bode well to me.
Now, these habits may be good or bad depending on your opinion, but I feel that many of them do not fit into genealogy. These habits include, but are not limited to, supports, 3D exploration, inserting the player into the story, making choices, most of which really don't matter, making the game more accessible through modes like casual and Phoenix mode, shying away from ambiguous or hard to understand mechanics, and making the player feel good about themselves. Let's talk about these habits and why they might ruin an FE4 remake.
Hmm.
The first, and maybe the most sought after addition to FE4, are supports. Support conversations in Fire Emblem are meant to add personality and life to characters who do not receive much attention in the main story. They have made fan favorites out of characters who have little to do with the overall narrative in their respective game. When done properly, supports allow characters to develop and to have a cohesive and relatable arc. I think most would agree that support conversations are a good thing in Fire Emblem, and I would too, just not in Genealogy of the Holy War. Some of the best moments in FE4 come from map conversations that happen between characters who have a connection, have fallen in love, or are stuck together in a particularly tough situation. Every character in the game, I think, has some conversation or event that expands on them as a person, but it also gives them some tangible benefit as well. Items are received, stats are boosted, and in some cases, incredibly powerful weapons are exchanged. I fear that these events would be retroactively fit into a support system, or worse, replaced by a support system, thus lessening their impact. Character building dialogue is already in FE4.
Okay, first point, first thing I'm gonna really debunk is yes, there are character moments in FE4. Like you've got you've got like the conversations between Beowulf and Lachesis. You've got some good moments between Sigurd, his sister, Quan, and Ethlyn. Like all that. Yeah, you've got a good amount of moments. But here's the thing: very few characters get those moments. Like to really get those moments to really shine. Like Azel and Tautiu, they only get like 2 or 3 moments to shine because of the conversations. Like they only have a conversation amongst themselves about, you know, in chapter 4. Like, and then there's poor cases like Noish, who literally only gets 1 line of dialogue unless you pair him with Lachesis in the entire fucking game. And honestly, he's the most forgettable person in all of FE. Like, and the reason he's so forgettable is because, guess what? He has no character dialogue. He has no fucking. He has no fucking personality. His 1 line of dialogue doesn't give him a personality. Hell, the most developed character out of this is Arden. Like, Arden and Sigurd, like, here's the thing. The events really focus on very few people. I mean, there's plenty of events, but, like, lots of, more characters, very few characters get more than one event to shine in. And honestly, they make them pretty tropey at times. Like, Alec, his whole thing is flirting with women, according to his not support, his conversation with Sylvia. So, guess, guess that's all we really need, huh? I guess. I don't know. But anyway, let's see what he has to say next.
It really doesn't need more. On top of all that, recent games in the series have had so many support options and conversations that to make it work, it forced writers to water down characters.
It forced writer. Did we play the same game, FED? Like, dude, I'm not trying to be rude. I I really don't want to be rude, but like, for example, Caspar. Caspar on the like surface, he comes off as your simple knucklehead. But when you do his supports, especially with Petra and Shamir, it's very clear that he's a guy that carries a fair amount of guilt. Like, especially because his father's head of the head of the Adrestian military. Dude literally knows his father has fucked over those countries with his military might. Or another person, like Raphael. Raphael, most of his supports, yes, he's pretty simple in one note. But there's one support that he just shines in. And that's his Ignat support. Like, his Ignat support is basically just the anti-Dimitri. You know, it's like pretty much Ignatz just can't let go the of what his family did to Raphael's family, causing them to die from a monster attack when they were supposed to be taking over the job. But you see, Raphael just doesn't care because he still wants his friend around. What happened? Happened. You know, it isn't just some simple conversation about being strong or muscles. Friends literally it's literally Raphael helping Ignatz get over the guilt that he has. This the guilt, survivor's guilt, which Dimitri fucking deals with throughout his game. Throughout the fucking I keep saying fucking a lot. But yeah. Throughout Azure Moon. To the point that he goes feral. Like literally, this mop haired guy goes freaking feral. And don't get me started on characters like Marianne or Lysithia, or hell, even Mercedes or Sylvain. And heck, even going past Three Houses, Fire Emblem Fates. Fire Emblem Fates has some good supports, like the Japanese freaking Saizo and Baruka support. Do not look up the fucking American support. That one's absolute shit. But yeah, conversations like that. Support Xander. Support Xander is all I can say. He contradicts main story Xander, but still, like, if support Xander was incorporated into the main game, Xander would be a much more beloved character. But okay, that point just I never get that point of characters are bogged down. They really aren't. Like, unless you're just looking completely surface and refuse to look outside of that surface, they're not that bogged down.
If they do feel the need to add supports to an eventual FE4 remake, I hope it is done in a way that is not such a detriment to the characters, and more importantly, I hope it does not interfere with the flow of the game, like we see with the overabundance of conversations in Three Houses, Fates, and to a lesser extent, Awakening. Speaking of flow, Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War might have the oddest pacing in the series.
Yeah, okay. One of the things I will bring up is that a lot of the characters that do get conversations, like, do get special events that are Like, and pretty much all you know about Dew from these events is that he's a thief and that he's young. You know, he's a kid thief. That's pretty much it. And honestly, with supports could really flesh out these characters. And I don't see how it'd mess up the pacing. Adding supports into Echoes didn't mess up the pacing, really. Like, I just don't get the idea of the pacing issue because, again, Echoes managed to perfectly add into the pacing. Like, have lovers. Like, I've suggested having, say, three conversations per person, and then or not three conversation, three, maybe up to four ranks now for convos in Fire Emblem 4's remake. Maybe, or a fifth rank for S supports. Like, for example, if there's a love point system, every 100 points you get a support convo because you're getting that conversation between lovers. And then, maybe have a friend point system too, where it's like, they only get three convos because, well, they're friends. They're not really leaning towards the love angle. They're just getting along with each other, and that'd be perfect. And you can do that on the map because, let's face it, in Fire Emblem 4, there is a ton of downtime. Like, there is a ton of it. And how long have I been recording for? 16 minutes. Ah, this is going to be a long one. Great. Anyway, let's just move on.
Many already know about the large maps and having multiple castles to seize per chapter, but the odd pacing is more a product of the town. The first turn of every chapter, aside from the prologue in chapter 6, you will most likely be spending an exorbitant amount of time managing items, using the arena, and preparing your units for the battle ahead. But this all works because it is a quick and simple menu. If we get an FE4 remake, I fear that the Castle Town menus will be replaced with an explorable area similar to Garreg Monastery in Three Houses. This will add hours of unnecessary gameplay to a full playthrough. Micromanaging your army this way will cause the game to come to a screeching halt after every chapter.
Simple solution to how to fix this. What you do is only have it be the main base castle, and have it be only Sigurd walking around and moving throughout the base castle. Or, if you want to have all the castles explorable, you know, that's perfectly fine. People could use a break from the mini maps, from the large maps of FE4. Like, have you played the game? Well, okay, yeah, you've played the game, but I misworded that. If you've played the game, you would know that FE4 maps are large, and there's plenty of places throughout to go visit. Now, sorry, I have to catch my breath for a second, but yeah, there's plenty of places to go visit. And honestly, it'd be interesting to have little 3D models move around and explore. And it might make the game a bit longer, but who cares? If you could add on to the lore, you can add on to story bits like in chapter 2, you could have inside Nordion Castle, or yeah, Nordion, yeah. You could have in Nordion all sorts of NPC villagers to talk to that spread their rumors because they're villagers that are bored and simple and don't really have shit to do. Exploration is gonna be would be a nice little touch. Like, you don't have to make the towns sprawling. You do not need to make them professional video here, but anyway, you don't need to make them like the size of Garreg Mach for each and every town. You could just have the main town be the main starting castle that you can promote in and everything be a big place. And every other place be like a small little explorational village that has 2 or 3 spots to go to, but you can't spend forever looking in there for lost items or anything like that. But I'm just saying, there's a very easy way to do this that, honestly, disrupting the flow is it wouldn't disrupt the flow that much, you know. At least I don't feel. I don't feel so.
Not to mention, there are a lot of times when entering the castle town mid chapter is a necessity. Running around a 3D environment
That's
mid
true.
map could be jarring, and honestly, I don't think it fits the game very well.
Yeah, already said that
After
doesn't.
playing Echoes, I have hope that this next habit will not make it into an FE4 remake, but the fact that it could terrifies me. The first half of the story in Genealogy of the Holy War is a tight knit affair. It is ultimately a tragic love story that has no need of a self insert character. Just take a look at New Mystery of the Emblem. Most fans agree that the inclusion of Chris hurt the game. Chris took the spotlight away from Marth and is treated as this perfect being who everyone loves. If a self insert is in an eventual FE4 remake, it could take the story's main focus away from what makes it so unique and special in the first place.
You know, I actually can agree with that, but at this point, I really doubt they'd put an Avatar into an FE4 remake because they know people would riot. They know that, like, the current guy that's in charge of Fire Emblem, he's a huge Kaga fan. Like, it's like the guy that made Echoes in Three Houses. Same guy, I forget his name. So, someone remind me later. But he just like he's a huge Kaga fan. Like he had like Gaiden Echoes was so faithful because he had fond memories of playing that game with his dad. So honestly, I wouldn't worry about an Avatar in Three Houses or not Three Houses. Fuck me today and can't say shit. But anyway, what I would worry about is honestly pointless additions like Faye and what's his name? Celica's brother. Celica's brother. The name will come to me. Conrad. Conrad. Yeah, I almost said Clive, but no. But yeah, Conrad. Pointless additions like those. Those are what I'd worry about if there was to be an FE4 remake because you know in Avatar there's also a shitty complaint that I've heard of Wei Fei being replaced by the Avatar. It's like, what fucking, what fucking hell world do you come from? What, where, where does your mind go to think that is an actual possibility? I mean, unless you're talking about narratively, like he just like an Avatar, much like Jagan in FE12. I mean, kind of get where you're coming from, but at the same time, eh. I would worry more about pointless added characters, added playable characters, because the story has already got its good cast that needs much more fleshing out than adding someone. We don't need someone that is there to just try to suck Sigurd's dick, but can't because Deidre exists. And we don't need some new character that honestly just adds more marriage options or some shit, you know? So yeah, the cast is already pretty tight. I agree there, FED. But it's but I wouldn't worry about an avatar. I'd worry about just excessive characters in general.
If an avatar has to be included, hopefully the developers and writers will treat him or her like Mark was handled in Fire Emblem The Blazing Blade. Mark was just a strategist for the player army that had no speaking lines. He wasn't even a unit in the army. He was merely there to acknowledge the player's existence in the world.
Mm-hmm.
If something similar to this is included, I could see it working, but it's still not preferred. You know what's really dumb in modern Fire Emblem? Pointless story choices. There are
100.
so many times in modern FE where you are given a text box to choose between two options, and both ultimately get you to the same place in the same way. It may change a word or two of dialogue, but that is usually it. In particular, there is a scene in Three Houses Azure Moon. Dmitri wants to go straight for Embar, the capital of the Adrestian Empire, but other leaders want to liberate Fargus. The choice is left to Byleth. But guess what? Regardless of what you choose, you will do the exact same mission. Please don't put crap like this into future games.
Okay, I actually, I'm not. I don't really have anything to say there. I 100% agree. Like, honestly, the pointless choices thing wouldn't work for an FE4 remake because, as you said, FE4 is a pretty straightforward story. But yeah, so yeah, no pointless choices. The only way that the only way the choices should work is if we have in Fire Emblem 18, because I am hell bent on Fire Emblem 17 being a remake. That if in FE18 we have an avatar and that avatar has dialogue choices during supports, honestly make it work like a Mass Effect system. But that's really all I have to say. So yeah, that's the one point that I can't counteract right now because that's just 100% correct.
Next, let's talk about casual mode and why it doesn't make sense in the context of FE4. Casual mode would invalidate one of the game's holy weapons, the Valkyria staff, but it would also dramatically change the tone of the game. If death doesn't matter, then the halfway point will lose its impact. Death is an intrinsic part of the plot. Accessibility is a good thing, but not at the expense of a game's tone and narrative.
Okay. Okay, I feel like this is a really personal thing, but like with casual mode, people like honestly, Fate's casual mode kind of sucked, but I think casual mode could work even if you don't do like I blanked out there for a second, but like casual mode could still work, and you can still have the midway point of Fire Emblem 5 still work where you know you have because here's the thing, there is kind of a gameplay and separation thing. Like in FE4, at that point, it's assumed everyone has stayed alive throughout all the battles. So when that hits, it kind of hits hard. But to give more modern examples, even with casual mode, people like Emerin still made their sacrifices. Makoto still died, and even though Makoto was a shitty character, it still impacted the story. Ryoma fucking fucking cuts himself open basically. Elise in Fire Emblem, Elise in Fire Emblem Fates as well. Fucking Fiora who sets herself on fire. Like honestly, honestly, casual mode doesn't affect the story stuff at all. Like I don't see how it would affect the story stuff personally. Like you could still have casual mode and still have big events that happen. Like I'm gonna spoil the game here a bit because if you've been on my channel, you know what the fuck happens. But yeah, like when Chapter 5, when Quan and Ethlin go into their fight or go in to help Sigurd and get ambushed by Trevant, that would still have an impactful moment because we grew to know those characters. We grew to know them. And even though we had casual mode when we were playing, casual mode is like casual mode does not impact the story. Like it it really will not impact the story unless they constantly reference the fact that you're playing on casual mode, in which then, that's the game just taking the piss. And honestly being a more self-aware Fire Emblem game, which I actually would like that, but not for an FE4 remake, of course. But honestly, like if they decide to go with a comedic Fire Emblem game that doesn't take itself seriously, I would actually be down for that. But anyway, moving on to the next point.
Besides, FE4 allows you to save every turn. If you do mess up, just load your save. This feature also lessens the need for a Divine Pulse like mechanic, but I could see it returning and it being okay to be included.
Okay, I forgot about the Valkyrie staff point, but yeah, Valkyrie staff could also be used for like even with casual mode to something broke off this desk, put it to the side. Anyway, something could be used with casual mode. Like with casual mode, you could at the end of the chapter you regain your units anyway. You could regain your units anyway. It would be we already kind of have a semi-casual mode in Deja and Julia, who when they get defeated, they're just at the end castle where they will get taken away. Or yeah, they're at the end castle, which you get them back after you conquer that end castle. It could be the same for casual mode. And the risk and reward system would be that, you know, sure you get them back, but enemies are progressing still, so you won't be able to freaking level them up because they'll have a hard time getting EXP. And then that's where, and then here's the thing, Divine Pulse and stuff like that are, as I called it in my like idea for an FE4 remake, the Tacticians map, as I'll call it here, like, but yeah, Divine Pulse. If they used Divine Pulse, you could easily, and I mean easily, use it. Like, say you accidentally say it has autosave, like true autosave, where like when a turn starts, it automatically has a save that you go back to. Using Divine Pulse, you could go back a few turns instead of when you reload. You go back because you got yourself into a screwed situation, but because of autosave, you fucked yourself. When you get into that screwed situation, you can go back a few turns and just be like, hey, I'm no longer in this screwed situation. But that's just an idea I have.
Along with accessibility comes the argument that FE4 has some horrible hidden events that are nearly impossible to find without a guide. Items like the Pursuit Ring and Brave Axe are so obscurely placed that no one will find them on a blind playthrough. To some, that may be bad design, but to me, it adds replayability. It reminds me of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild in some way. When Breath of the Wild first came out, it became the thing to talk to your friends about, the different adventures you had. There was so much to discover and find that it was nearly impossible to have an identical experience to anyone
Hmm.
else. Hidden events can do the same thing for Fire Emblem. I wish I had the opportunity to play Genealogy of the Holy War when it first released. It would have been so much fun to stumble upon a secret event and then share it with friends. If a remake came out, that experience could be had among new fans playing it for the first time. Modern Fire Emblem has the tendency to lay everything out for the player. Recruitment has become a non issue in most cases. There are no hidden requirements to discover through carefully reading the text. For the most part, new units just join the party now. There are no significant hidden events. Fire Emblem has lost a lot of the mysterious charm that was.
Okay, I kind of see where you're coming from, FED. I kind of see where you're coming from, but I honestly, if they just gave little lines like maybe have a little extra event where it's like after after Seliph in chapter 10, like a friend of mine brought up a point of like Seliph in chapter 10. It's like after you kill Arvis, if you have Seliph kill Arvis, you could have him be like, I need I need to go get some fresh air or some shit like that, you know? And it'd be kind of a hint. You can use words to say to hint without giving it away, you know? That's kind of a charm that Fire Emblem has, or RPGs in general will have. Like, yes, Breath of the Wild, which I've been playing a bit of. You can like with Breath of the Wild. I can't speak today. Fuck me, but anyway, with Breath of the Wild, like there's plenty to find, but people will write up guides, and a lot of people look up those guides anyway. You know, FE like FE4 just having little lines of dialogue, hinting but not outright saying where places are. That's perfectly fine. As for recruitments, yeah, I agree. Recruitments has kind of been simplified to hell and back, but like not every person needs to be Lorenz. Like not every person needs to be a Lorenz archetype where it's like, hey, you need to go do this, 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 and fucking this to go recruit me or to even talk to me. You don't need that, but it is kind of nice to have to work for stuff. So I can slightly agree with you there. But I doubt they'll change recruitments. Maybe they'll just because here's the thing, Shannon makes it obvious too. Like Shannon outright says that Ira will join you now that you've saved him. It's not that hidden an event, and honestly, Ira's the most obscure recruitment next to freaking Hannibal. And even then, the story makes it clear as day. So anyone that actually pays attention knows, hey, I've got to go save this little blonde kid before I go recruit Hannibal. But anyway, let's resume.
Once a staple of the series. A return to form in a remake would be really exciting to see. Okay, last one. Making the player feel good. I would argue the last Fire Emblem game to make the player actually feel bad about what they were doing or about themselves was Radiant Dawn. In that game, you take control of Micaiah and the
Okay, I already see where this is going, and I'm just going to be a bit of a rambler right here. Radiant Dawn didn't make me feel bad about what I was doing. Personally, I was just like, why is everyone dumber than I was in fucking calculus? Why is everyone acting like me, the D minus student that would fucking blow up a science room by accident, you know? Honestly, Radiant Dawn doesn't do a good job of like moral conflict, but that's just me. But honestly, making the player feel bad, Three Houses does that perfectly. Like when you pick a route, you unless you recruit everyone because that is an option. But like even then, it's like Dimitri, like being against like people from other houses. It's like, hey, in the war, I used to in last run I had Raphael. This run I don't have Raphael, but so I have to kill him because I'm doing a no inheritance run where I don't inherit support ranks and shit. So I'm doing this basically fresh. Shit like that. That honestly, that makes you feel bad. You're killing people that you went to school with. You are killing people that you were around for a full year, that you've basically taught, that you got to know, and now you're you can question yourself. You question yourself if you made the right choice. Like with Dimitri, you can question, did I really make the right choice staying with this feral animal? That this man that has gone insane and clearly is off his rocker, that could kill you at the drop of a hat. Or Edelgard, who has started this revolution where many will die. Many have died. Many and things will never stay the same. Or Silver Snow, where are you really going to keep things the same? Are you really going to keep the church in charge of everything, despite what you know about the church? Or hell, even Verdant Wind, where it's like Claude clearly doesn't care about the people of Fopin. He cares about Elmira. People are still stuck in poverty. You know, systems are still court systems are still all kinds of fucked, and he fucks off at the end. And honestly, because you're never gonna do a goddamn unpaired ending with Byleth. Byleth 90% of the time fucks off and goes to live a life with his happy wife and he steps down from his position in the church. So God knows what chaos that creates, especially because using real world examples, the minute you try to do open borders and try to force cultures to live together, it goes into fucking hell. But that's just assumption. Like I'm gonna listen to what he has to say, but and I'm hoping that I'm being respectful. Like I'm not saying any. I'm hoping I'm not saying anything too rude, too crude, anything like that. But I just these honestly are the most baseless assertions ever. Especially if you played Three Houses or hell, Echoes. Like Echoes just makes you think about stuff. What people refuse to think about it, but Celica's journey. Like if it's really right to just have blind dogma, you know? Because, yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
Day in army when they do some less than savory things. It is a gross feeling part of the story, but modern games treat the main protagonist like a perfect person who has no faults.
Um. Okay, I already explained Edelgard, but okay, let's go over Byleth a bit. Like, the dude's a cold-blooded murderer. Like, in in pretty much every route, there's one person that he'll just go up to and will kill without mercy. Like in in Azure Moon, it's Flesh. In my mouse fucking accidentally clicked. But anyway, and then in pretty much any route that isn't Edelgard's, she barely like you kill her mid sentence, which is one of the coldest moments in all of Fire Emblem. Like honestly, if you want a moment that's just ice cold, pretty much Edelgard being killed by Byleth before she can even finish her sentence. Like that's just cold. But anyway,
Everyone loves them. They all want to be like them. That praise is not something the main character of FE4 deserves. Sigurd, while a just and valiant man,
I've
isn't the
already
best decision maker. He acts without thinking and gets himself into trouble. On top of that, he is the center of a tragic tale. An FE4 remake really needs to focus and hone in on that tone. If the developers attempt to make a lighter story where everyone aside from the most evil villains love Sigurd and his friends, then the game will lose part of what makes it so good. FE4 should not be remade. It is great the way it is, and a remake would just give Intelligent Systems an opportunity to ruin it. Just
I'm you know what, I'm gonna let this last minute finish before I get my
online
thoughts.
service. There's a great fan translation of it already, and I'm sure Book of Holsteady would gladly let them use it if they were to put it out stateside.
Okay, about that fan translation, there's still a fair amount wrong with it, like Rikisis being named like the names that they like he uses the awakening localization names which are lazy as all hell. Like, Book of Holsteady uses Lachesis, he uses like hell, there's Aranus, which he or there's Fury, which he changed originally before it got confirmed to Aranus to Aaron because he did that of his own accord. I also know that he's got a little bit of a line that he added into translation to kind of poke fun and just tell the fans of the old translation to fuck off. And honestly, that just wouldn't sit well with me. Like, we don't need to use Book of Holstein's translation. Now, if they were to decide to, hey, we're going to translate it and put it on the eShop SNES style and everything, you know what? Fucking awesome. Give me that shit. Give me that shit and let me play it. I will play it all day. Let's play it all day using legal hardware. I would buy the shit out of that. But we know at this point that ain't gonna happen. It's gonna get remade. Like the art style, for example. Like the art style, I love it, but I know that's subjective. And as for like as for the character thing, I feel like you don't look into like I mean, you're not a story guy. I know this much, FED. Like, you and me, we've talked about this plenty of times. You're more of a gameplay guy. I'm more of a story guy. Which, whenever you bring this stuff up, is why it's always so head scratching to me. Like, I'm not trying. Like, with all due respect, man, it just kind of is head scratching to me. Okay, but anyway, closing thoughts.
I know that's really never going to happen, but a guy can dream, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, friends. Please leave your thoughts in the comments. Would you like to see an FE4 remake? What would you want changed? And what would you hope they leave alone? Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're new around here. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I've kind of given my thoughts already. There's a lot of this I disagree with, like the pointless choices. Yeah, he could keep the pointless, like don't do the pointless choices. That's kind of not needed. But yeah. So yeah, this was my response to Fire Emblem discussions. reasons why an FE4 remake won't work, but and I've had a massive disagreement. Like, let me scroll down to my freaking comments. Like, yeah, I said can't wait to see this. It honestly debate your points. I can already see them coming from a country away. And honestly, I did. Like, no offense, you said some stuff that a lot of people said in the past, when this was stuff that was said back in the Fates days. And yeah, okay, well now that this video is out, I got my next video made. Yeah. So yeah, this debate, this is coming from a mile away from me, but yeah. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me if I was being too crude, too rude, and FED, I hope you did not take offense to this. Like, all respect, like, I don't want no beef. I'm just giving my debating thoughts as to why. Like, because a lot of my, I feel like some of the stuff I said was vague, like, talking about Dimitri and all that. But that's because Three Houses is kind of new and I don't want to spoil everything. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Please leave a like and a comment, subscribe, or, or tell me why I'm an asshole. I don't give a shit. Alright. Good night.